Tigers win. Tigers win. We're presented by Gotlit Light Installers. Please smash the like button if you have not already. Man, that was an interesting baseball game all around. That was a really just fascinating 9 innings. There was a lot of good. There was a lot of not so good. There were some head-scratching moves at the end. There was a spark off the bench. Ultimately, LSU gets a huge win that they needed to. You're now at 11-5 in the league, 33-6 overall. And, I mean, that was a tale of 2 games. I'm trying to really think where I want to start. And I think you have to start offensively with this one. LSU in the first 3 innings looked like they did against Auburn. Really the first 5 innings. But the first 3 is where it really stood out because you get Curiel leads off the bottom of the first with a single first pitch he sees. And it's like, all right, perfect. Because we looked at Tyler Fay in the preview, and the kid had 1 start. He threw 50 pitches in that start a week ago. He entered the weekend with a conference ERA at over 10. And Curiel singles up the middle. Like, oh, here you go. Right there. Then Fry strikes out. Then Jones strikes out. Eventually, Curiel, in the midst of those 2 at-bats, makes his way to third base, and that's where the Jones strikeout was really discouraging because all you needed is a ground ball to the right side of the infield or a fly ball at that spot, and you couldn't get either, and you stranded a runner on third in the first after you had given up a solo shot. So you're trying, right, to answer right back. Ultimately, you would, after giving up another solo homer to Brady Neal, of all people, but you would answer back in the third. That's when you had the back-to-back doubles from Stanfield and from Curiel. But again, you end up with a runner at third base in less than 2 outs. And again, you have the punch out from Fry and Jones. And it's just like, man, something's got to give. They're not seeing it. Something just has to give. And ultimately what did was a spark off the bench from Josh Pearson and from Ashton Larson. And y'all, the only person happier about that home run than me was Ashton Larson. That was like kid on Christmas morning for me. Y'all know the big Ashton Larson show, right? But it's the way that inning started. Jake Brown leads off with a walk, and at that point you're into Alabama's bullpen. And look, it was Matthew Heiberger. Like, that's one of their top guys. We talked about him. So he leads off with a walk against Heiberger, and that's when they make the pitching change. It looks like John Pearson's going to pinch hit, but then they make the pitching change, bring in a righty, Austin Morris. Pearson pitch hits, comes off the bench, ready to hit like you should as a pinch hitter. Pearson drives it through the right side of the infield. You have 2 on. You go back to your bench for Ashton Larson. He comes up also ready to hit, swings at the first pitch, just taps it off the plate, and the next one, he didn't miss. Drives it just inside the foul pole, down the right field line, brings LSU within 1, and man, that was the spark that you needed. What was interesting, they sent Jacob Myers back out for the 7th, and they were trying to steal outs there, and I don't blame them. But what was huge and should not be overlooked is Jay Johnson in that 7th, after Myers hits the first batter of the inning, you're down a run, and he goes to Kason Evans. And think about that spot in the ballgame. Because you finally threw up a crooked number. Your offense has been struggling. Like, call it what it is, right? They've been struggling in conference play. You're trailing. And Jay Johnson, through all those struggles that he's seen his offense have, and he's going to say all the right things in the media, but he knows they're struggling. That's why he gets back to work with them. And he goes to Case and Evans, trailing. Has that much confidence in offense. Okay, we're going to play to win this game. We're going to put Evans in, and the offense is going to make the plays to win it. And his confidence was rewarded. And I'm so happy that it was. Because you get to the bottom of the 7th, and Larson and Pearson, two guys that they could be in the lineup every day in a lot of places around the country, and they're not at LSU right now. And you look at a guy like Larson especially, who, hit 298 as a freshman a year ago. That kid starts elsewhere in the SEC. And he fell on some hard times. He doesn't get down on himself. He stays in it. And he comes up with a huge hit when LSU needed it most tonight. Major hat tip to Ashton Larson. Major hat tip to Ashton Larson. That was awesome. So you go to Evans. He gets you out of the 7th. And then Ethan Fry, who had a rough night at the plate, singles to start that inning. And Jared Jones comes up behind him, who had a rough night, draws a walk. A very important walk. Dickinson made the pitcher work, ultimately would pop out. That was disappointing to see because at that point, you had runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. But then Stephen Milam comes up. And Milam deposits one, an absolute bomb to right field. The only question was, would it stay fair? And it did. And at that point, you're up 7-5. You'd add another run in that inning for a 4 spot on a throwing error by Alabama. And then Ethan Fry in the bottom of the 8th gets his 2nd hit. And I loved seeing him bounce back. Loved seeing him bounce back in that moment. In that moment to come up with a huge hit for LSU, to come up with another huge hit just for good measure, 2-run shot. That was big because, man, it wasn't looking good for Fry early in the game either. And that's really the story of the game for LSU. They started slow offensively again. And we could talk about that. And, yeah, you want to start faster. And this team has started fast at times. But, man, they stuck with it. And they took advantage of what has been a major weakness for Alabama the last 6 games in conference play, now 7. And that's the bullpen. Y'all, we gave you the numbers. I sat here on the preview show and gave you the numbers on Alabama's bullpen. Where in their 6 games against Auburn and Mississippi State, they lost both of those series. They came into this weekend, 30 innings pitched, 34 hits, 18 earned runs, 27 Ks. They weren't overpowering anybody. The put-away stuff wasn't there, and they were giving up runs. And Alabama's bullpen tonight gave up 10 of your 11 runs. And you got to some of their better guys. Heiberger was good, but you got to run off of him. Blackwood, that's been one of their key go-to guys. We touched on him in the preview. He especially was giving them extended relief. And you tagged him. The spark came from the bench, but then you saw the regulars in that lineup really start to take the next step forward. The back end of that game is extremely, extremely encouraging for them offensively. Hopefully that carries over to the rest of the weekend. Let me remind you about Gauntlet Light installers here real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of the game and take some questions. Smash the like button, please, if you have not already. Please share as well. We had some trouble getting the stream started tonight, so please give a share. That would also be very, very helpful. Gauntlet Light installers, gauntletlights.com. I blanked. Sorry. Gauntlet Light installers, gauntletlights.com. permanent outdoor landscape lighting. Jesus. What is my problem? Got Lit Light installers, gotlitlights.com. I'm sorry, Derek, by the way, for this. I greatly apologize. Permanent outdoor landscape lighting. Go to gotlitlights.com, get your quote. Front yard, backyard. It can even be for your business. Doesn't just have to be home. Again, custom design. They'll install. They help maintain. Got Lit Light installers. And, of course, your temporary outdoor lighting as well for any private events that you may have. Wedding reception, wedding, anniversary party, birthday party, graduations are right around the corner. You need some temporary outdoor lighting for your private event. Got Lit Light installers. And, of course, the Christmas lights coming soon. It's never too early to start thinking about decorating your house for Christmas. Got Lit Lights. They can obviously help you with that. Custom design, cut to fit, maintenance, install, tear down, storage. Got Lit Light installers, gotlitlights.com. Tell them you heard it right here on Moose with the Box. Let's start with Cade Anderson when we talk about pitching. And, man, he just flat ran out of gas. Third trip through the top of that lineup, got him. And we talked about the top of the lineup. It's a really, really good top of the lineup. I thought he was excellent for 5 2/3 innings. And after that second out in the 6th, he started falling behind and he got punished for doing so. But other than that, what Cade Anderson did great was keep it small. The 3 spot in the 6th was tough, but you look at how he responded to the homers that he gave up early, the solo homers that he gave up early. That first one to Cade Snell, it was disappointing because he was ahead in that count 1-2 and just split the plate with a fastball. And Cade Snell smashed it. But he struck out the next 4 hitters that he faced. That's a great response. After Brady Neal hits the home run, Cade Anderson retired 10 in a row. He retired 10 in a row. When you look at the line, no walks, 10 punch-outs, like all of that was fantastic from Cade Anderson here tonight in that ball game. And then the 6th inning, he fell behind Snell. Snell hit the 2-run homer. Bonamalo, third time seeing him, gets one up in the wind, hits a solo. The one thing I will say about Cade Anderson this year, that's now 12 home runs that he's giving up, and that's a problem. You got to keep the ball in the ballpark. If there's one, I know it's kind of nitpicking in a sense, but also, man, all 5 of their runs scored off of home runs tonight. The good thing is 3 of the 4 were solo homers. All 3 of LSU's home runs were multi-homers, and that's ultimately the difference in the ballgame, or one of the big differences in the ballgame. But again, I thought Anderson pitched better than his line. Would I have loved to have seen him get through that 6th inning? Absolutely. I mean, the pitch count wasn't in a bad spot. He just ran out of gas, and he fell behind hitters and had to come in the zone. And at that point, Alabama, the top of the order, is really good. We highlighted it in the preview, and they got him. So they got him there. But I thought he pitched really well. I thought Casey Evans was phenomenal. I mean, Evans was in complete control. And that's where I'll talk about the 9th inning a little bit, because I didn't agree with the way Jay Johnson handled it. That's my opinion. You can have a different opinion. I really don't care. I thought Jay mismanaged the 9th. Not mismanaged. I don't want to say mismanaged. I thought he overmanaged it. Mismanaged would imply that it was it cost you something. I thought he overmanaged the game at the end. Casey Evans was rolling. Just let him finish it. Just let him finish it. Because what even if you're gonna take Evans out, I know Cooper Williams was warming up in the bullpen at one point at one point in the 9th inning, but you go to Binge in the 6-run game. Like that to me was a head scratcher in and of itself. Taking Evans out, I didn't agree with. I just didn't. I would have let him finish the game. He had 2 more outs to get in the bottom of the order. Just let him go. So that was the first thing I didn't love in the decision. You go to Binge for him to get the last 2 hitters of the game, 8-9. He gets 1 out, loads the bases, walks in a run, walked 3, hit a batter. He just couldn't throw a strike, which is disappointing because Connor Bench has been pitching really well. But in doing that, you force Zach Cowan into the game. And I don't like that. Yeah, he threw 3-4 pitches, whatever, got the out. That's fine. You had to get him hot. So, and then he has to go into when you didn't need to do it. You didn't need to do it. That's the luxury of having Evans and Cowan, is you can use one of them once and still have the other one left to go. Look, if you want to get Evans out there again this weekend, fine. That's your pro. It's just, I disagree with the way that was handled. And I think you could have gotten out of that 11-5 easily with Evans, maybe at around 40, 42 pitches. And you're sitting pretty for the next 2 games. Like, the reason I don't like having to force Cowan in the game, and this is, again, the reason why I liked the decision from Jay at Texas to let Cowan finish out the 6-run game, is because that's a tough spot to bring him in. Cowan's awesome. I'm not saying that he can't do it. But at that point, you had flipped the lineup over and you had given the other team momentum. Offensive innings can get contagious. So I don't like the way that, if it was up to me, I would have left Case and Evans in there and just let him finish the game out. Instead, you elongated it. They got a good look at Connor Bench, who you're going to want to bring back at some point this weekend, and you forced yourself to get Cowan hot and throw him into this ball game when you didn't need to. I disagree with that. That's my opinion. You can have your own opinion. That is mine. It worked. You got to win. Great. Cowan can come back. Hopefully Evans can come back. That's great. But it's just not the way that I would have done it. So that's my 2 cents. Other than that, I mean, I thought your pitching was really good tonight. I know Evans had the rough 6th inning, not Evans. I know Anderson had the rough 6th inning like we talked about, but I thought other than that, he was very good. Any questions? Let's take some questions here to wrap things up, guys. Smash the like button, please, if you have not already. Subscribe. Hey, Cageonomics, shout out, bro. Why'd you retract your message? Share as well, and subscribe, YouTube and on the podcast app. Greatly appreciated. Any questions, guys? I'll take a few. I'd like to take a few at the end here. Hey, thank you, Cageonomics, and I appreciate the work you do, sir. You're a true hero. The folks across the basin are just jealous. Chili, what can Devin Shearing add to this staff if he comes back? I don't think he's coming back. Not this year, at least. He's throwing bullpens, Jay said, which is awesome to see. But they're not there yet with him. I mean, Jay even said that. They're not there yet. So, I mean, what could he bring? I mean, from a talent level, he's awesome. He's a 99-mile-an-hour heater, friggin' wicked slider as well. But, I mean, that's a guy who you'd have to ramp up and do all that. So, I don't think it would be a really big role if he comes back. But I'm not expecting to have him back this season. But, we'll see. LSU, what was your handle again? LSU man, something like that. Hey, David, shout out. Do you think Larson might get a start tomorrow? I hope he kind of does. I mean, I hope he does. I don't know. There's Riley Quick's going to be on the mound, so it is a righty. If you want to get him in there in a DH spot, maybe. But man, Fry having those 2 hits, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I would like to see Ashton Larson start. I would love to see him be rewarded for the moment that he turned in for LSU tonight. We'll see what Jay does. LSU, man, in Virginia. Gotcha. Now we nailed it. Now we got it now. Let's see. Hold on. Dustin B, will Evans pitch again Saturday? I mean, he can at 35 pitches. We'll just, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what he does. Oh, Cagenomics lives across the basin, huh? How about that? I didn't know that. I've never met Cagenomics. I just frequent his channel from time to time, and I appreciate the service. Wyatt Moran, do you think Newt will pitch this weekend? I hope. I mean, I hope so. Jaden Newt hasn't pitched in over a week. I'd like to see him out there. I'd like to see him out there for sure. Let's see. Logan J. Schmidt starting Sunday? No. Well, for one, they don't play a game Sunday, but I know what you mean. I'm poking fun. You're meeting Saturday. No. Chase Shores is starting. He's been announced as a starting pitcher. I told y'all, I wasn't expecting a change. I just wanted to throw something out there. Cloudsack, do you think Myers has done enough to get more SEC run? I think that question was kind of answered tonight, wasn't it? They threw him out there. They threw him out there in that what was that? That was the 6th inning? Yeah, they went to him to get out of that 6th inning after Anderson had given up 3 runs. Yeah. They like what they've seen from him. Now, I think you would have liked it to be a little bit more, strike heavy tonight from him, but he got the strikeout. He got the hit batter, and you saw they didn't play around. Like, they went and got Case and Evans and brought him into the game. So, but yeah, I mean, they're showing that. They're showing that already that they do. Why is that on the screen right now? Let's see. Where are we here? LSU man in Virginia, that's a great point. Cade Arby, he looked awesome behind the plate tonight. He had a huge block in that 7th inning. When that was the inning that Case and Evans struck out LeBron to end it on a gift from that home plate umpire who was absolutely atrocious tonight. Like, y'all, as bad as his strike zone was for both teams, him missing the play at the plate with Brown was abhorrent. That guy sucked. He was terrible. So yes, shout out Cade Arby. He was very good. That block in that inning was huge. That helped you get out of it. I saw somebody ask about third base. I think it was Justin LaGrange. I like Braswell at third base. That's the way I go. He and Reeves in conference play are hitting comparable numbers. So give me the glove. That is my reasoning. 100%. I like Braswell there at third base. Let's see. Austin Scholes asks, if you have Dutton and Neal on this team, is this team in a better position? No. I don't think that they are. I don't. Because it's not apples to apples. I mean, and y'all, Brady Neal had 1 hit. It was the homer. Other than that, he's hitting 200. Like, he's hitting the same deal he was hitting at LSU. So definitely no for there. Like, I'm going to take Hernandez over Brady Neal every day of the week. I just am. And with Dutton, it's not apples to apples either because, man, he went to Auburn, made a few changes, and the quality and strikes are better. Sometimes you just need a different voice. So I'm gonna say no. I think, and look, I mean, LSU's in a great spot right now. You're 11-5. You're 33-6 overall. you know, they're doing well. Fred, yes, Fry's bomb did come off of a lefty, but he had the walk off a righty. He singled off a righty and then homered off a lefty. That was good to see him come alive at the end of the game. I really, really liked that. Let's see. Yes, GB, I'm glad you brought up their first base coach. That guy was hilarious. I love him. That was awesome. So, I mean, this guy comes storming in from first base talking shit. He's already like, first of all, he's huge, man. Umpire was not. So, like, if they were actually going to get down to fisticuffs, it would not have gone well for the home plate umpire. And he gets away with it, walking past him, talking, but just, I mean, dude had a purpose. And then he freaking gets tossed from the dugout, takes the helmet off. I mean, light hella shining off the dome. He tries to run through one of the umpires, bumps him. So my guess is he'll be suspended, at least for Friday, maybe the rest of the series. Gets run. Like, love the energy from that guy. He was awesome. That dude, someone find me that man's name. Big fan of him. Stick up for your guys. That was a horrible call, but we'll take it. Jared Jones. I see Justin just brought up Jared Jones. And I did want to talk about that. Jones is really going through it, y'all. Jared Jones right now is one for his, gosh, what happened in his last at bat? Can y'all refresh me? What happened in Jared's last at bat of the night? I don't remember. He walked. Thank you. Okay, he walked. So Jared Jones right now is 1 for 2. No, 1 for 2, Jesus. 1 for his last 16 in conference play. 8 strikeouts. He reached on an error and now has 2 walks. I'm really hoping those 2 walks spark him. Because 1 out of your last 16 with 8 punch outs and a reach on an error ain't good, y'all. That ain't good. So, okay, we're going to come back to that, Michael Spears. But him drawing those walks hopefully is him seeing the baseball a little bit better. I'm very interested to watch Jared Jones in tomorrow's game. Or in Friday's game. Very, very interested to see that. Michael Spears just says, Coach Morrison, that's the Baldy who got tossed from Alabama, who I just said I loved, said that he saw Coach Morrison got a save versus LSU in that Coastal Carolina Super Regional. So I take everything back that I said about Coach Morrison. I don't like him. I'm glad he got tossed. I hope he's suspended for the rest of the weekend. That Super Regional was absolutely horrible. Screw that guy. All right. I'm over that now. Wait, he closed out Jay's Arizona team in the championship? Boy, I bet Jay doesn't like him very much either. Yeah, that guy stinks. You suck, Mike Morrison. Like you. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap us up for tonight. David says that guy went bald. Bro, how bald was that man? Like, he was very bald. Anywho, him getting tossed was still hilarious. Like, he actually wanted to rain blows upon that umpire. That was really funny. Yeah, I remember the 5-foot-tall leadoff hitter. Ugh. The Coastal Carolina Super was easier to stomach because they won the national championship. The Stony Brook one still pisses me off to this day. Coastal winning it all made that one easier to stomach. Yeah, actually, I'm with LSU man in Virginia. Why are we bringing this up? Why are we remembering that? All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Y'all smash the like button. Appreciate it, as always. Get subscribed. Please share as well if you have not already. And be here next time for more. We'll talk on Good Friday after the Tigers are hopefully closing out a series win. This is Moose with the Box, presented by Got Lit Light Installers.